Right, so this job today is, I was here a few months ago and I added some circuits. I did this trunking and stuff. Someone else did the consumer unit and I came and added a couple of circuits for their kitchen. But they've now since relocated the boiler from upstairs to downstairs and they've relocated it to here. So I've suggested, oh, because it's so close to the consumer unit, let's put it on its own dedicated RCBO. Fucking plumbers. Cable management. Anyway, that's by the by. I've noticed that there's a hole there, and I think that hole goes round here. I think that is what, where is that hole is there. Hopefully use that underneath and bosh it in. It's a BG board, so I picked up a BG RCBO, 16 amp. I got some 2.5mm cable. I'm gonna probably, run it in the trunking, clip it to the underside of the joist, go through. I brought in some conduit and trunking, only because I've had a quick look passing by, and I thought I can't leave it like that. Admittedly, it's not my job. It's the plumbers have done that, and this. So I'm gonna think about shuffling it around, but I'm gonna bring my cable in down here, along, and I'll probably do some conduit or something. Mount a few spur here or here, and then relocate this up here. I've got a bit of MT4, so I'll do a bit of trunking. I'll probably disconnect that flex, put it in here, and do a bit of MT4. And they're going to build a false floor that's going to go around here. So that's the job for this morning. Such a shit job from the plumbers. Right, so I've got my box on the wall, bit of conduit to go down, just to sleeve it, neaten it up, relocate the nest controller next to it, and then this box I'm gonna have to, it's a bit of a rat's nest, but I've got to try and make do. I just might replace these connect blocks with Wagos, because I've got to take a couple of these cables out and relocate them just to neaten it up. And I'll just swap them out for Wagos, but there's not much more I can do. I'm just here to put a new spine for the boiler. I'm just doing this as a bit of like, it just looks a little bit like shite. And there's also another junction box down here, so I'll put them in Wagos, in a Wago box down the bottom there. But I'm just trying to lipstick on a pig it, If a lipstick on a pig, it's still a fucking pig. And this looks a little bit dog shit, but I'm just trying to do the best I can, but mainly get this on and back on. Don't all fucking cry. This is above and beyond my remit. I'm just here to put a spline for the boiler, but I thought I needed to relocate a couple of the cables just to neaten it up. So I don't have a Wago wiring center. I don't have a proper wiring center. I'm just using what the plumbers have left, a 2-gang box and a blank plate to go over the top. So I'm just trying to neaten up the wires as best I can. So I just boshed everything on Wagos, horse it all back, put the blank plate on, and then, like I said, neaten it all up, maybe put some trunking down here, some clips and stuff, and then get my cable, get my supply through there, put a Wago box on here, get it into the board, test it, power it up. Right, let's see if this fits. It's just to neaten up this top line. Oh, look at that. Lovely. So I'll dress them cables in along there, lid it up. I haven't got an end cap because this is just like a make it up as you go along, so I'm probably going to form it out of the lid, I'll show you how to do it if you don't know how to do it. It's a bit of a get you out of trouble kind of lid, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's just to cover that up, neaten that up. Bit of trunk in there. I'm going to do another bit along there, I reckon. And then yeah, job's a good one. So what you kind of do, it's a bit of a bodge, like get you out of trouble if you run out of end caps, is look at the distance of the end cap like that. See the trunk in there? I've marked that, the lip, and what you do is you slice down both sides, get rid of that lip. You can overdo it and then cut this back afterwards, but if you slice there and there down to that mark, and then I used to use a lighter, like a cigarette lighter, but you can use like heat gun or something, or cigarette lighter, it's probably best, and gently warm it up, and then you bend it and then press it and hold it down, and then it kind of becomes 190, like a 90-degree bend, and then it clips on the front with the bending over, if you know what I mean. You have to allow for like a mil for the bend, or a couple of mil, but yeah, I'll do it, it'll be easier to show you. Well, I'm using my heat gun, but I used to use a cigarette lighter. Remember, this is just like a get you out of trouble. Plan ahead, make sure you have the end caps. This, I didn't know I was going to be doing a bit of trunking to neaten up those cables. This is something I'm just deciding to do as I'm here, so I have a bit of MT4. So what you do is you warm up this side, get it nice and warm. Like I said, with a lighter, you've got to be really careful, you've got to be quite low. I'm sure we've all done it at some point in our career to get the job done. So warm this side up, and then you bend it quickly and hold it in the 90-degree position until the plastic cools, and it'll set and go hard like a 90. But yeah, I can't do it one-handed, so you'll have to just see the after picture. Right, I've literally just done it, and I've just chucked the heat gun on the floor. I just did it until the plastic got a bit wobbly, and I just quickly held it down in the 90-degree position. If anything, you could go a little bit more acute, because it'll always push back on the trunking. And then once it sets like that, so you can overdo it, it'll always push back when it sits in the trunking, but once it sets, that goes like rock hard, then the plastic goes hard again. That's sit on like that. I've overdone it so I can cut it back, but you get the idea. It goes on like that, and then you'll just slice that, or square it off and slice it, and then you've got yourself a little end cap. Remember, this is something I'm just making up as I go along in terms of job wise, because I've come just to put a new supply in for the boiler, but I thought whilst I'm here, I'll tidy up the plumber's cables, because they look fucking shit. And you know what's going to happen, I'll put the supply in and they'll just assume that the Sparky did the wiring, so I'm just going to tidy it up a little bit. The internal corner, again, I've not got any internal corners, so to keep it as one piece, I've just notched the profile on the back and then bent it so it's all one piece of lid, rather than just straight cut, just to make it like seamless, you know what I mean, more aesthetically pleasing. I know it's a cupboard, but it's the little things that you can try and do now and again just to neaten a job up. That's going on lovely. It's just a little bit tricky to do one-handed. So what'll probably happen is I'll give up in a second, and I'll just take a picture of the finished product. Just get some big wipes on it just to tidy it up. But that is the trunking and the lid in one piece with a few little joints and cuts, and then that is the that's the end cap just there, which is just fabricated. So it's not perfect, but when you haven't got an end cap, it's something, you know, it's a cover, and it's all one piece. But yeah, right, let's get this wired up. Right, I'm gonna route this cable. I'm gonna clip it along, but underneath the pipes. I hate cables lying on top of pipes. I'll go underneath and up my conduit into the supply for the boiler. Right, so this side is done. Just got to give a bit of a tidy up and a wipe down. Now I'll do the consumer unit end. There's my cable. I'm going to bring it in underneath, up into this trunk into the board. RCBO, quick test, job's good. Ooh, what lovely labelling. When I came back to add the circuits, I relabeled it because the previous electrician had just handwritten, and it's doing my nut in. So yeah, pedantic, sure, but don't know, just makes it easier for me and for the next dude. Another reason why I love those membrane grommets, you can just push them through, right? Or admittedly they could use an open grommet, sure, but I just love these fire membrane grommets. Fair play to the previous Spark, done a nice job there. It wasn't me, by the way, but that's nice. And I'm not a massive fan of BG, and I know some people love them, some people hate them, but I get the appeal. I mean, you can buy them from any fucking screw fix up and down the country, so you bosh them in. If they go faulty or whatever, you know, screw fix are pretty good. You can get all your shit from one shop rather than whatever the wholesaler's got that day, you know. So I get why people use it. I'm not a massive fan, but that's not just because I've not used it that much. I've installed probably like 2, maybe 3 BG boards. But yeah, what do you think of them? If you've got one of the uni lights in the back and with the magnets on the back, don't forget, if you're going to use the plaster beading, find a bit of paper or a bit of card so you don't mark the beading. I know it sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many times you like quickly just bosh it on the plaster beading and then you mark it. You know what I mean? So yeah, find a bit of card and I can work in some light. Right, first of all, null the leads. And I always null them on the, not the hinged top part, but actually on the solid bit at the bottom, on both, rather than using a hinge. Silly, but yeah, rather than relying on that hinge piece, you know. So, nulled. Right, right. I've put my probes on. So the first test I'm going to do is continuity of the CPC, and I'm going to do the R1 R2 method using these, not magnetic ones, the Q-Tech ones, and the run is about what, like 2 meters, so it's going to be something like 0.00, I imagine. But I need to verify and prove it. If it's something wild or really high, it's obviously a loose connection or something, but it's 2 meters, so I'm hoping that this is going to be pretty darn low. So my supply line, the beeping is a good sign. Just get a good connection. Come on Lawrence, get on there. Hard to do one-handed. Right, there we go. There we go. 0.00, line to CPC. Cool. Fuse connection unit is off. So I'm going to do insulation resistance next. I've already checked the bonding of the water and the gas. Again, that's another little thing that you should always do. Nope. Keep them in there. Before making any alterations or additions to an existing installation, yada 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 yada. There's some kind of BS reg somewhere near the beginning of the Bible about that. It says something about like Any alterations, although may not be compliant or something to the current edition, doesn't mean they're dangerous, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, all near the front, all that fancy stuff at the front. Right, IR testing. I'm going to do it at 500, brand new circuit that I'm putting in. Ooh. I know you can do it at 250. I know on the ICRs I sometimes do it at 250, but on a new circuit you should do it properly at the full voltage, in my opinion, to test the cable that I've just put in. I know it's 2 meters. I know I've not done anything, but I'm still going to do it. You never know. So three tests here. Line to neutral. You can lock it on if you press that, clear, and then press the red button. It locks it, so you have to keep pressing it. So that's line to neutral, line to CPC. Yep, and then CPC to neutral. All good. Right, I'm quickly just going to terminate them into the RCBO, and then we'll power it up, perform a ZS test, an RCD test, and a functional test to make sure everything is perfect before we crack on and get on. As always, I'm sure most of you already do this. Like as standard, you already do it without even thinking, but I'm using the trusty box, you know, of the RCBO, and then when I get back, I'll type it all up official, but all the main details I need. I have done a certificate from here before when I put in those 2 new circuits for the kitchen, so I have got a previous certificate I can draw from, but you never know, so it might have changed since you've been here. So 1361 type 2, 100 amp, 1361, which I've already seen. It's a TNS. I've just done the ZE, 0.19 ohms, PEFC 1.23, isolator, 25 mil and 16 mil main earth, 10 mil water bond and gas protected bond. It's going to be circuit 15. It's going to be the boiler, 61009, 2.5 mil, R1R2, installation resistance, live tests. Trusty magnets. I'm doing it at the load end rather than at the terminals of the RCBO. 29.3 was times 1. 29.3. Do this 5 times. Now I don't think you have to do times 5 now from the latest amendment change, but I don't know, I'm so ingrained in doing it. You just do it. So last one, 19.2. So I'll write that down, 19.2, and of course 19.2. Do the operational test. Nice. Polarity you can do by the R1R2, or is proved when you do the R1R2, or obviously you can visually inspect it as well, which is what I've done. I do both, you know, just to double check your work. You know, you've got to stop and think for a second and check. Yeah, label up. Now, the common ones that's forgotten is most of the boilers require 3 amp fuses, not 13. So always have a bag of 3s, mainly for this and like lighting and stuff, but always have a bag of 3s in the van. I'm gonna get a big wipe that up, maybe pop a clip in there, but this is almost done. Get it all powering up. Yeah, let's crack on. I don't know where that cable's been, but it's looking horrible. It's been dragged through the bushes. someone's old extension lead or something. One of the plumbers fucking extension lead in the back of their van probably. And they thought, oh fuck, we haven't got any flex. And they just snipped off. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? And snipped off an extension lead in the back of the van to get some flex because you fucking run out. Yeah. It's looking a lot better. Yes, I am a Sparky. Yes, I have a Dyson vacuum. We got a new one at home. The wife got a new one, got the V8. So I thought I'd use the V6 in the back of the van. Obviously I still got the Henry as well, but this is just a nice little handheld one that I can use for odd little jobs. Now I know I bossed through that testing quite quickly, but you know, I just had to crack on. But just get, I'm not some kind of super testing fucking Sparky hero. I just had to crack on. I'm still trying to make money at the end of the day. I can't sit and go for it all the time, but hopefully you've seen me like continually post about testing, and that over time, like along with like your own shit, you can pick up bits or ignore bits of my shit, you know. I don't fucking care. But yeah, I did bosh through that quite quickly, but don't be, you know, don't be confused. I did do all the relevant tests that are required of me, and I got all the information. I'll go home and I'll type it all up. But yeah, hopefully you enjoy the testing stuff. I try and do as much as I can when I can. I can't always do it on every job, but I do try because I'm passionate.